Hello. Consumer's equilibrium by indifference curve analysis. We have already seen on an indifference map different indifference curves are drawn according to the data given based on the combinations of goods from which the consumer gets the maximum level of satisfaction. So you find different indifference curves. The consumer always tries to remain at the highest possible indifference curve subject to his budget constraint. There are two conditions of consumer's equilibrium. Consumer's equilibrium under the indifference curve theory must meet two conditions. Number one, a marginal rate of substitution of X and Y. The two commodities X, Y. So MRS XY equals to ratio of price or price of commodity X by price of commodity Y. This is condition 1. The second condition, MRS continuously falls. These are the two conditions. If MRS of XY is greater than the price ratio, consumer is willing to buy, he will be willing to sacrifice more units of Y to get more unit of X. So it will induce the consumer to buy more of X. So MRS falls and continue to fall till it becomes equal to the ratio of prices and the equilibrium is established. If MRS XY is less than price ratio, that is PX by PY, then consumer is willing to sacrifice less units of Y as compared to what is required in the market. So it induces the consumer to buy less of X and more of Y. So MRS rises till it becomes equal to the ratio of price and the equilibrium is established. That is one. The second one is MRS must be diminishing at the point of equilibrium. That is, the indifference curve must be convex to the origin at the point of equilibrium. Unless MRS continuously falls, the equilibrium cannot be established. So this I'll explain where is the equilibrium point and how the indifference curve starts falling down. So, if both the conditions are fulfilled, then the consumer is at equilibrium. Now, let's see the diagram here. In this, you find IC1, IC2, IC3. The three indifference curves are found, and AB is a budget line. So with the constraint of budget line, the highest indifference curve which a consumer can reach here is IC2. So the budget line AB is tangent to the IC2 at point E. AB is tangent to IC2 at point E. So this is the point of equilibrium where the consumer purchases OM quantity of X, commodity X, and ON quantity of commodity Y. So this is the equilibrium point. AB is tangent to IC2. The points on the other points on the budget line to the left or right, this side or that side, will lie on lower indifference curves. So that indicate lower. So we have already seen the higher indifference curve expresses or represents the higher level of satisfaction, the lower one, lower level of satisfaction. So as budget line can be tangent to only one indifference curve, consumer maximizes the satisfaction at point E when both the conditions of consumer equilibrium, these two, are fulfilled or satisfied. So MRS is equal to ratio of price. So at tangency point E, you find the absolute value of slope of indifference curve and the slope of budget line are same. So equilibrium cannot be established at any other point as MRS XY is greater than price ratio at all points to the left of E, and MRS XY is less than price ratio at all points to the right side of E. So equilibrium is established at point E where MRS is XY is equal to ratio of price or PX by PY. Then you find MRS continuously falls. It's diminishing at point E and it is convex. So here you find the diminishing and it becomes convex to the origin. So this is how we study consumer equilibrium through or by indifference curve approach.